In 1956, one of the biggest attractions was the women's wrestling.
Bring it back!
Well, they had a slight problem with it. Some of the gentlemen got very upset because they thought this one lady wrestler, which was a pretty good-sized girl, was being mean and unnecessarily rough with her opponent. And a couple of the farmers started to intervene, and they had to calm them down so that they could finish the match up. And that was the one and only time we had women's wrestling. We did have wrestling matches. And if any of you are old enough to remember Gorgeous George, he was one of the star attractions during 1955 and 56. There's also the story about these wrestlers took their business very seriously. And one of the sponsors, and I'm not going to say who, he was a larger guy, and sometimes he didn't think before he said things. And he got in there, some of you know this story, protect the innocent guys. Got in it and was making fun of the wrestlers, that, you know, this type of thing. And this one wrestler basically walked up to him and grabbed his shirt and literally ripped it off. Scared this guy to death. I don't think anybody has ever left the rink quite that fast. And he did not end up announcing the rest of the matches. He decided that could be hazardous to you.
Well, there's a story that goes too that they would schedule the wrestling matches at a certain time, and you see this great big old lumbering car come down the road and come to a screeching halt right in front of the stand, and they'd all pile out, and they were laughing and cutting up, get in the ring and fight like they all hated each other. It was all over, get back in the car and drive back where they came from.
Kind of makes me think of wrestling. 1956, when they had the street dance at night, Harold Bailey and the boys played the street dance at night. And nobody knew at the time, but that would be the last Garden Spot Day celebration. In 1957, we had major flooding. If you don't recognize this corner, this is 151st and Memorial. And where that barn is about where Taco Bueno is right now. That was our high school, and that's about where Central is today. About when they got recovered, starting to get recovered, we had an additional major flood in 1959. Whoops,